Well, my medical history is somewhat unique in that my health problems began a little more than 12 years ago when I was paralyzed through a spinal tap. After having suffered several years from the paraplegia and paraplegia-associated illnesses, including numerous bladder and kidney infections, partial urinary incontinence, mastitis, poor liver function, rectal fissures, reduced immune function in general, as well as severe neuralgia and back pain, in addition to the associated injury-related and compensatory joint damage, I became seriously ill back in November 2006 following a spider bite. Given my compromised system because of the spinal cord injury, I immediately began developing a multitude of symptoms that left me completely unable to function within 4 months. Since February 2001, when I was injured, I had consulted numerous medical doctors and other specialists regarding both the injury to my spinal cord and the acute and chronic infections that I was having, but had very little help. I've been diagnosed with Lyme disease, severe viral infection, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, parasites, chronic mold infection, heavy metal toxicity, and it is strongly suspected that I have arachnoiditis and transverse myelitis, which are extreme inflammatory conditions involving the spinal cord, having developed because of the injury to my spinal cord. It is believed that I have CCSVI, chronic cerebrospinal venous insufficiency, and I suffered from acute viral meningitis back in October 2011, after which time I continued to suffer from temporal arteritis and what I call meningitis-type headaches. Now, in December, the infection in my spinal cord exploded and I became very, very sick. I was put on a cocktail of antibiotics, but they didn't help, and I only continued to get worse. The pain became so excruciating, especially in the thoracic spinal region, that I could no longer sleep. I only slept 10 hours in an 11-day period. My spinal cord felt putrid and rotten, like you could actually scoop it out with a spoon. On that Monday, I received my first IM-BX injection. That night, I was trying to sleep when all of a sudden I felt the intense pain in my thoracic spinal region instantly disappear. I couldn't believe it, and I was able to fall asleep. But about 1 hour later, I woke up because the pain in the thoracic spine had come back with a vengeance, and my body was literally flailing all night long. I felt horrible the next day. Over the next 4 days, the spinal cord infection pain began to slowly improve, and I began to regain some strength and my ability to walk and move my legs. I am sure that without the BX, I would have been paralyzed again, and I probably would have died shortly thereafter. I was really, really sick. By day 8 after the first injection, I had the distinct feeling that my body wanted more BX. On day 11, I began worsening, and on day 13, December 23rd, my status went from bad to worse. By that night, I was so ill and in so much pain that I couldn't sleep, talk, or be touched. Approximately 18 hours after I gave myself the injection, my spinal cord and leg pain had improved to what I would call a tolerable degree. Dr. Klinghardt always uses ART testing to determine how much BX I should get and where we should inject it. Since the spinal cord infection pain hurt me the most in the thoracic spinal region, that is where we went first, with a little bit around L5 as well. I have had a specific, intense, knife-like pain in my thoracic spine in one particular place ever since I was paralyzed. And although I still have thoracic pain and can feel the infection, this one specific pain went away with the very first targeted BX injection, and so far it has never come back. Since I had reacted so positively to the thoracic injections, we decided to do the same thing in the lumbar area, this being the area where I was injured by the spinal tap. In addition to the typical fever, body aches, pains, and headache that I usually get after a BX injection, within less than 2 hours of receiving that injection, I could literally feel bubbling in my spinal cord. I knew that something was happening with the infection. I could feel it. As I said earlier, ever since I had acute viral meningitis in October 2011, I've continued to suffer from temporal arteritis and meningitis type headaches. These headaches can be so bad that they can reach the severity of 80 to 90% of that of acute meningitis. Over an 8-day period, Dr. Klinghardt injected my left temporal artery area, which is where I suffer the most from the temporal arteritis, and the sphenopalatine ganglions with the BX. This not only helped with my cognition temporarily, but I have not had a single meningitis type headache since. It's a day and night difference from before.